Hi, welcome to Wellness Woodbridge. I'm your host, Ann Mazza of Vito Mazza Salon and Spa and Hair and Scalp Wellness. I'm very excited to be here today at University Orthopaedic Associates on Route 1 North. And we're so excited to be here with Dr. Swan, who's a huge part of our community, and we're going to highlight this wonderful facility that's right here on Route 1. Hi, Dr. Swan. How are you today?
Good morning. Very well, thank you.
Thank you for having us. We're so excited to be here and do this show so we can share with the community what you have to offer right here in Woodbridge.
Well, we're excited to be here. We've been here for almost 2 years now, and it's going really well.
So tell us, what type of a physician are you, and a little bit about what is your dream, right here at this facility?
So this is somewhat of a dream come true. I've been here in Woodbridge in part, or part-time, I should say, for 17 years now as an orthopedic surgeon. So that's what we are. We're an orthopedic practice. We're all orthopedic surgeons taking care of various musculoskeletal ailments, injuries, problems. This office was built 2 years ago, this coming June, as an extension of our greater practice, University Orthopaedic Associates, which is scattered around Central Jersey.
Wonderful. So you're in lots of locations, but at this main hub, you see patients and also do the physical therapy as well?
Correct, yes. So we see patients 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, and we have physical therapy with 3 physical therapists and a hand therapist as well. So many of our patients, part of their treatment will be physical therapy or hand therapy, and that's where they can go.
It's a very impressive facility and vast, and it's got lots of parts, which we're going to show the viewers at home a little bit later. But tell us, what type of clientele do you see mostly at this facility?
So we see a variety of patients aging from somewhere around 10 or 12 years old all the way up to 100 or so.
And you would say it's sports injuries or, just regular injuries? Tell us a little bit about that.
So it varies for each physician. My fellowship training after orthopedic residency was sports medicine, which tends to include athletes and revolves around knee and shoulder injuries and conditions. But that can really be any age. For instance, a high school baseball pitcher with a shoulder injury, or a 60-year-old construction worker with a shoulder condition as well. So I tend to specialize in knee and shoulder, but really see all sorts of athletes at the middle school, high school, and college level. And then my partners here in the office take care of anything from the hand to the spine to the foot, and we'll see patients of all ages for those conditions.
And so you do surgery on your clients. Where do you perform the surgeries?
So we perform surgeries at the hospitals and at surgical centers. We take a call, meaning we are on call for emergencies at a variety of hospitals. Specifically, I'm at Raritan Bay Medical Center in Perth Amboy and Old Bridge, as well as Robert Wood Johnson Hospital in New Brunswick and St. Peter's Hospital in New Brunswick as well. My partners take call at other hospitals, including Jersey Shore Medical Center and JFK Hospital. So we're all over central New Jersey, and we do surgery on emergencies at those facilities, but also many of our elective surgeries, meaning people come into the office, we schedule a surgery, and then we have it done either at one of those hospitals or at one of our surgical centers. The main one would be at our surgical center in Somerset, above our headquarters there.
Wonderful. So we have done a robotic surgery show, a wellness show, over at Raritan Bay. Do you use the robotics there, or?
There's not as much call for it in many of the things we do, but total joint replacement can call for robotic surgery, and yes, at that facility. And some of my partners are involved with that.
Yes, very impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive. So you see your clients over here at follow-up care in this facility?
Correct.
For surgical. And then they go to the PT department.
Many of them do, yes. There's a lot of nice physical therapy facilities in the area, and depending on the patient's location and insurance and everything else, they can go where they choose. But we love it when they come here because we have a lot of faith in our physical therapists who are top-notch, and there's excellent communication back and forth between the therapist and the physician, able to talk about specific patients and really, stay in touch with what's going on a day-to-day basis. We don't lose track of our patients, which is something we don't like very much.
It's excellent, and it's one-stop shopping. Essentially, they can come to the same place, and you see people in an age range you said that is amazing. So from young all the way to old and elderly people who
Correct.
sometimes just need rehab.
Absolutely. Many of our patients, perhaps the vast majority of our patients, do not need surgery. They need non-surgical approaches to their condition or their injury, whether it's physical therapy or medications or injections, bracing. There's a lot of things we do that are not surgical, but if and when the time is right, we know what to do surgically.
So for our viewers at home, whether they be athletes or the elderly community, tell us a little bit about what they could do as far as preventative medicine so they don't wind up on a surgical bed.
Yeah, excellent question, and something we're always learning about and trying to remind ourselves about. But the usual things that we tend to forget are staying in shape. Sounds obvious, but the better shape you're in, the less stiff you get. The less stiff you are, the less that arthritis that's creeping in bothers you. So that means both your flexibility, but also your strength. So having some sort of active routine is important, and it doesn't have to be that much.
Walking.
Walking, yeah, walking, stretching, 15 minutes of light cardio a couple times a week would be more than many of us do. Not smoking. I think we all have come to learn that, but that really does play a big role in a lot of the ailments we see, the diseases we see. If you're smoking, it's never too late to quit.
That would count as vaping too.
Absolutely. That's a whole nother chapter.
Whole nother show.
Yeah. So those are a couple of things. Our diet matters, right? And there is a fair share of literature on diet and health and inflammation in the body. So there are anti-inflammatory diets that we sometimes discuss compared to perhaps the more Western diet, which is not as great for inflammatory conditions. So diet, exercise, not smoking, some of the usual things, but we do talk about those here in the office.
Absolutely. Well, preventative medicine is the way to go if we can go in that direction. But it's so great to know that you're here in case somebody really needs specialized care, and you're certainly providing that, which is so exciting.
Well, it is exciting, and the therapists play a big role there too, in that they help some of our elderly patients who have maybe gotten a little weaker or their balance isn't quite as great anymore. Once we figure that out when we see them in the office here, a couple of things we do is send them to the therapist to regain some strength and balance, maybe get a bone density test to check and make sure their skeleton's as strong as it can be. And then, if and when a hip or a knee replacement is needed, then we're here for that as well.
We're so grateful to have you part of helping our sports teams right here in Woodbridge. And I know your goal with them is to get them back playing on the field and being part of the game again.
It is. And one of the things that I think I've learned to recognize is that the seasons are short. The high school seasons are very short, a month and a half, 2 months. If you're out for that long, you miss the whole season. And that's really tough on kids. So we try and get them back on the field safely as soon as possible, depending on the injury.
Absolutely. And that's emotionally and physically something that our children need right now, especially after the last few years that we've experienced. So we're so glad to be here. We can't wait to talk to Ben, which is your physical therapist, and then we're going to do a tour of this amazing facility. And we're so grateful to be here with you, Dr. Swan. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming.
We'll be right back. Hi, we're here with Ben Glider, who is a doctor of physical therapy here at University Orthopaedic Associates. And we're so excited to speak to him about a little bit about himself and what he does that makes him so different as a physical therapist. Hi, Ben, how are you?
Good, how are you doing today?
Good, thank you. So what do you do here?
So I work in physical therapy, obviously. So we treat a lot of the patients from next door, from Dr. Swan, Dr. Bayo, and all the orthopedic surgeons. So we get everyone who is post-op, and we try to take them through their rehab process to get them back to doing everything that they weren't doing previously. So getting their quality of life better, getting them back to sport, getting them to be able to lift their grandchildren up again when they haven't been able to do that for a while. So it's a very rewarding profession, and we get to help and have a direct impact on the community around us.
Well, being that you are a doctor in your area, it seems to me that that must be a huge help, especially with the post-surgical, which Dr. Swan, probably needs someone like yourself to make sure that that follow-up gets done most correctly. And I'm sure you are well aware of all of that, all the different parts of the body. So mostly shoulders and knees for you?
So we treat the whole body. So we treat anything from a ankle sprain to just general foot pain, all the way up the chain, knee, hip, back, neck. We have a hand therapist who will specialize in the hand, wrist, elbow, but anything from, we kind of all share a little bit of the elbow and up. So I treat the whole gambit to someone who has a work-related injury, to a sports-related injury, or just they woke up and they had pain today and they're not sure why they still have pain. So we kind of look at a holistic approach. So we look at the entire body, because a lot of the time there's something called regional interdependence. So someone who has a shoulder issue is not necessarily the shoulder that's causing the problem. It could be flexibility of the neck, it could be flexibility of their spine, it could be that they are imbalanced one side versus the other, so they're causing them to overuse that shoulder. So our job as the physical therapist is to do our evaluation and find the root cause of the issue, not necessarily the symptoms. So the doctors, they do a great job of getting the x-ray, the MRI, making sure that nothing is physically torn, nothing is broken, but at a certain point there's pain that's not showing up in necessarily imaging, and then that's where we come in to see why is the pain there in the first place. And that's where the doctors trust us to do our evaluation and come up with that root cause.
So is that considered a form of pain management?
So yes, so with pain management, we play an integral role in managing pain. So someone who comes in pain, there's a lot of different causes. It's not necessarily structural damage that can cause pain. There can be the sensitivity in the nervous system, it could be stress, it could be diet, it could be improper exercise that's causing a tendinitis. So we do a full evaluation, top down, going through what's their exercise routine, what are their sleeping habits, what are their, what are their activities outside of,
The house.
Yeah.
Anything. How about food shopping?
Yeah, so food shopping.
Could be anything.
We try to analyze their movement and see if there's something going on with their movement pattern that needs to be corrected.
So even like scar tissue, breaking up scar tissue after surgery is probably an issue. I know my mother just had foot surgery and that's been an issue. Just going through that whole process, when you see someone post-surgical, how long would you say they're with you here?
So it really can depend. So especially it depends on the type of surgery. With someone who is a post-op ACL, for instance, like one of our athletes, they might be with us for up to 6 months. Someone who is a post-op total knee replacement, usually 2 to 3 months. Or someone who just has some minor ankle sprain, they might only be with us with a couple weeks just to get them right back onto the field. It really is so dependent on the injury, and what we do as physical therapists are manual therapy to help correct the area and reset the pain or help with the inflammation or get the motion back, and then quickly get their strength back so they can get back to doing what they want to do as quickly as possible.
That's great. It's such a huge benefit to all the people who come. And I like the idea of this full body evaluation, because I think many people do have pain that radiates from a different area and they're not really sure where that comes from. Sometimes a hip can be your top of your thigh.
Oh, yeah.
You wouldn't think that way. But I think that that's something that is very important to highlight.
And that's also something that we see all the time is our patients are not their imaging. So an MRI can show 80% of the population is going to have something wrong on the MRI, whether it's a frayed rotator cuff or a partially torn labrum or a bulging disc or a herniated disc that they might have had for the last 20 years and they had no idea until they had pain. And that doesn't necessarily mean that's the reason they're in pain. It could be completely unrelated, which is why we try to do, at least here, a big conservative approach is that surgery is the last option. We don't want to slice and dice, fix something that might not even have been the issue to start with. So that a lot of the time they send them to us as physical therapists so we can do our full evaluation. And a lot of the time we can get them out of pain without surgery, without injections, without these high dose pain medication and narcotics, and just get it back through motion and exercise.
I've heard so many people say they've had an injection, it doesn't seem to work. So it makes more sense to me to probably do the physical therapy route and get that full evaluation before you just keep shooting with injections and we're not really sure, if they're actually doing anything. So I
Exactly.
feel very good hearing you say that because I think it's a new way of looking at it.
Oh, absolutely, and especially back pain, one of the leading debilitating injuries throughout our workforce of what's causing people not to be able to work. They've tried back surgery and their pain's not better because they never improve their flexibility, their strength, their lifting mechanics, their sleeping and eating habits. So these are all things that surgery can address. Or what I like to kind of use this quote a lot is the surgery fixes the part of the engine, but it doesn't fix the engine. So what fixes the rest of the body is us, who comes in with the exercise and flexibility management.
I think everyone in this society is looking for the quick fix. But what I'm
Unfortunately,
hearing
yes.
from you is there's some work that has to be done.
They wouldn't call it physical therapy if it wasn't physical. You definitely have to put the time and the energy and the effort in, but we find that our patients who systematically go through our approach, mass majority of them are getting better without having to go down the surgery route. But if ultimately it's failing, that's where we have our excellent surgeons who can take care of them.
Well, that's a benefit to have it all right here because it sounds like from what you're describing, they might start with you, then go to Dr. Swan, and then come back to you.
Absolutely. We have it kind of both directions, right? Either they've been in pain for months, they finally see the orthopedic, we send them to us, or they're coming off the street, coming in our door, seeing me, and then I see something that's not going quite right or something that looks a little bit off, and then that's where we can refer them directly next door and get seen right away, where we can get the x-ray, we can get the MRI, we can get the proper imaging that they need. And because it's all under one roof, that communication is seamless, where unfortunately with healthcare, as many people have seen, you're waiting 2 months to be seen, who then they tell you to go get an x-ray, and then now you have to find somewhere to get an x-ray, and it's another 3 weeks. And then finally you get back to the orthopedic, and there's been so much time that's passed, where really this could have been addressed within the same week, and you would have been back on the field already.
Absolutely. And that collaboration is the hugest asset, I think, that we've discussed. So I'm so grateful to have you here, Ben. Thank you. And thank you for all you do for all of our patients right here in Woodbridge and the whole surrounding community.
Well, thank you. Thank you for your time.
We'll be right back. So we just passed through that beautiful intake area, and now we're here at your main reception spot?
Exactly. This is checkout, and people check in on the other side of that door over there. We have a whole host of staff who are here to help make our days run smoothly.
And there's a lot to do by way of insurance cards, we know.
So much, more and more it seems.
But once they come through this main hub, they'll be good with either and/or physical therapy or the surgical.
Correct. So this is our medical wing. We have 4 pods here where there can be 4 different doctors treating their patients for the day. There's 3 or 4 examining rooms in each pod, so 12 or 16 examining rooms could be live at one moment.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Well, it's gorgeous. It's very, very nice. And you have some beautiful highlighted things that I'm sure that we'll get to see and show the viewers at home. All the wonderful things you've done right here for the community, so it's great.
It's fun. We have some local high school athletes who have recovered from their surgeries. We got a college football player here, and then one of the more senior guys here in town who's getting back on the golf course after breaking a hip. So, good stuff.
You've got it all. So now we're going to go into the physical therapy area?
Yes, yeah, exactly. That's a nice spot to see.
Let's go.
So, this is our therapy
Very
department.
nice.
This area is hand or occupational therapy. And on the other side of that wall, we have physical therapy with our bigger equipment and weights and places for people to do agility exercises and things like that.
Amazing. I mean, look how many hand stations you have here.
Yep. Several patients can be treated by several therapists at once.
Would you say this is a point of difference, the hand therapy at this facility, in comparison to other places around?
I would. Some places have one or the other. It's really nice to have both. And the hand will include the hand, but they can really do a lot of the whole upper extremity, which is really nice.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And all of these equipments and everything they need. I love it.
Yeah.
Looks really great.
Yeah, we're
So-
really happy with how it turned out.
It's beautiful. So we'll see more on the other side in a little bit, and maybe we'll get to see what Ben's up to.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we've had a wonderful afternoon here at University Orthopaedic Associates with Dr. Kenneth Swan and his entire team right here, Route 1 North in Avenel. So that's where you can find them. And we're so happy to be here and see this beautiful facility. You should come check it out if you're in need of any services with regards to orthopedic surgery, pain management, physical therapy. They have it all, one-stop shopping right here in beautiful Avenel. So thank you so much for joining us on Wellness Woodbridge today, and we hope to see you again soon. Bye.